Welcome everyone. This is the second lecture in the lecture series on circuit and system. I am Nikhil Kumar Mohan, Assistant Professor in Electrical Department in Delhi Technical Campus. Okay, before proceeding further, we should have a recap of what we have discussed so far in lecture number 1. We discussed that a better name for the subject would be network analysis and synthesis. Because in this subject we will be dealing with the networks. In the last lecture we clarified the difference between circuit and network. We discussed that network is the word, we can use it anywhere. For any kind of interconnection we can use the word network, whereas a circuit is a specific word. It can be used only for closed interconnection and interconnection with energy sources. If an interconnection is not closed or it does not have energy source in it, then it will not be regarded as a circuit. So why we define a new word network, which is more general. It may have a closed path or it may not have a closed path. It may have an energy source or it may not have an energy source in it. So any kind of interconnection, any interconnection can be termed as networks. Later, we discuss that in this particular subject, we'll be dealing with the analysis and synthesis part. Analysis. In the problem of analysis, we will be having the information about the input and internal configuration of the network. Internal configuration. And we are required to find out the output. This was analysis. It has unique solution. And in the problem of synthesis, we discussed it is the problem of designing. Designing a network when we have the information about the input to the network and when we have the information about the requirement of output from the network. The problem was with the synthesis was it had infinite many solutions. There was another problem with the synthesis also, which we did not discuss in the last lecture, which was, say, for an example, let me consider a 10 volt source. It is a 10 volt source and it has to feed a load which needs such a high voltage. That means I need to design this network which can convert this 10 volt to the almost 10,000 or 10 lakh crores, 10 lakh volts. Is it really possible? Is it really possible? Due to some physical limitations, we cannot design this network. That means this, even if I have the information about the input and the output of the network, it is not possible always to have a solution of the problem, solution of the synthesis problem. That means it may have infinite many solutions or it may have no solutions as well. No solution as well. So to check whether the given problem has no solution or infinite many solution, we need to run a realizability reliability test. We need to run a reliability test which will tell us whether the circuit will have or whether the network will have a synthesis problem solution or not, whether the circuit can be realizable or not. This is the problem of synthesis. That means it may have infinite solution or it may have it may do not have any kind of solution. To check whether it will have any solution or not, we need to run the reliability test. The reliability test will show us whether the synthesis problem will have solution or not. The other problem is that suppose I have designed a certain network. And before implementing it into the physical world, real world, I need to check its performance. I need to judge its performance or check its performance. And this performance can only be checked by inputting some test signals, into the network and seeing whether the output is bounded or not. Bounded means limited output. The output should not go to infinite. It must have a bounded output. Okay, so a network performance can be judged by inputting some test signals. Now, if we have the information about the test signals, I can judge the performance of the network. So before proceeding further with the testing, with the knowledge of test signals, I need to know what are signals. So the objective of today's lecture is to discuss what are signals and how to classify, or what are various classification of signals. So the objectives are signals. We'll discuss what are signals and what is the definition of the signal. Then we will classify signals in analog and discrete, periodic and non-periodic, random and deterministic, even and odd signal, energy and power signal. We had a question on energy and power signal in the last semester, or in the last year semester exams, last year sessional exams. So this one is important. Let us define signal. Now, if I ask anybody, can he define a signal or what a signal means to him, then obviously the first thing that will strike in his mind would be this. In general day-to-day life, we refer this traffic signal as a signal. In this particular picture, we know that it is showing that the red light is glowing and other two lights are off. Also, there can be another picture in which green light is on and other two lights are off. These two both are signals, but they have different information in them. This particular picture is showing or letting us know that we need to stop at the crossing. We need to stop at the crossing until we see a green light. And this picture is showing that we can cross the road or crossing until we see a red light. So these two are signals, but what they are doing, they are providing us some information. So from this particular example, what we can fetch is that a signal is something which provides us some information about the process. Over here, the process is whether to stop or whether to cross the road. Similarly, if we further look into the physical life to have some more examples of signals, then we generally come across the mobile signals, mobile tower signals, mobile tower signals. You may have noticed this kind of bars on the top, on the notification area of your mobile phones, or like this one, or like this one, or like this one. All these are mobile tower signals, but all these are representing or conveying some different information. This particular information, this particular signal is informing us or conveying the information that the mobile signals are weak. Mobile signals are weak. That means in the particular area where the object is, the mobile signal reception is weak. We need to move to the other places, and if the object goes to the other place, he'll see this kind of signal. It means the signal is better than the previous, or I can say the signal is okay, not good, not bad. But if he moves to another place and he sees 3 bars in the notification area, then he will conclude that the signal reception is quite good. And if he sees this kind of 4 bars in the notification area, then he will perceive that the signal reception is very good. Very good. See, all these 4 pictures are conveying different informations to us. This picture is conveying that the signal is weak. This picture is conveying that the signal is okay. This picture is conveying that the signal is good. And this picture is conveying that the signal is very good. So we have discussed in general life what can be a signal or what we refer to as signal. But as far as the scope of the syllabus goes, we need to give a textual definition. The textual definition of the signal would be: if a physical quantity varies with time or frequency or any other independent variable, then it is said to have possesses some information, and this is termed as signal. What it means? It means any physical quantity. Any physical quantity means it can be either the length or the magnitude or the time or the weight or any other thing. If any of these physical quantities varies with time, that means they will be possessing some information. And if we look at these variation in the mathematical form, then this will be a signal, or we can look at them in the graphical form. So it will be a signal. So the variation of any physical quantity with respect to time will be a signal. Let me give you some more examples. And we can represent signals either in the mathematical form or in the graphical form. Let me give you an example of variation in the height of a plant with respect to time. We all know the plant grows with time, and if I plot the variation of the height of the plant with respect to time, then say in the first week the height of the plant is 0.2 meters, and in the second week it grows to 0.5 meters, and in the third week the growth is not big and it is around 0.6, and in the fourth week the height is around 0.8. Then this variation from 0 week to the 4th week in the height of the plant, when shown graphically, is called the graphical signal. Graphical representation of signal. This is the graphical representation, and we can also represent this mathematically either in tabular form or by mathematical expression. So as this variation is different. It is possessing some information that the height of the plant is growing. So we can regard this, or we can call this as a signal. Let us discuss another example. Say the variation of temperature with time in a specified area. Suppose in a specified area I am measuring the temperature in degree Celsius with respect to time, and say at 12 o'clock, that is at 0 hours, the temperature is say 10 degrees Celsius, and as the time increases, the temperature keeps on increases. The temperature keeps on increases like this, and if I join this, then this variation of temperature with respect to time plotted on a graph will be a signal. It is possessing some information. What information it has? It is showing us that the temperature will increase with respect to time in a almost a linear fashion. So this will be a signal again. Let us discuss some more examples. Variation in the magnitude of current in circuit with respect to time. Suppose I have a circuit where I switch on the switch at this particular time. Before this time the current was 0, so I'll start the value of this current to be 0 at t equal to 0. At t equal to 0, this is 0. T equal to 0 is the time of switching. Time of switching. Before this current was 0, but after this the current will increase into the circuit and will reach to its final value, and it will become steady. This is how the current will vary in a RL circuit. Now this graph plotted against time is a current signal. It's a current signal. So this is a signal. Similarly, if I draw the variation of voltage across any element with respect to time in the given circuit, then say the variation is like this. This is graphical representation is also showing that the voltage is varying with respect to time. So it will be a voltage signal. It will be a voltage signal. As these quantities, voltage, current, heights are varying with respect to time, say if we have a voltage V, it is varying with time, then we will mark it as voltage as a function of time. If the current is varying with respect to time, we will mark it as a function of time, current as a function of time. If the height is varying with respect to time, then we will mark it as a function of time. That is height as a function of time. If the temperature at any place is varying with respect to time, then we will mark it as temperature as a function of time. These all are the signals. Okay, so signal is nothing but the physical variation, physical quantity variation with respect to time. The variation cannot be only against the time, it can be against frequency or any other variable also. So we'll discuss them in detail in the later lectures, but for now we will consider the physical variation against the time, because it is very easy to understand for human beings, for a human brain to see a variation against the time. We will not be able to understand the variation against frequency. Okay, how the signals are classified? Signals are classified as analog and discrete signal. In some books, these are also termed as continuous and discontinuous signal. continuous and discontinuous signal. Continuous with respect to time, discontinuous with respect to time. Actually, analog signals are always continuous, but discrete signals can be discontinuous and others. So discrete signal is a type of, discontinuous signal is a type of discrete signal. Then we have periodic and non-periodic, random and deterministic signal, even and odd signal, energy and power signal. The first classification is energy, analog and discrete signal. Say if we have plotted the variation of function f with time, and the variation is like this as shown by this curve, then we can see that this function f is having a value at every instant of time. The time for every small possible interval of time, this function has some value. Then such functions or such signals are called as analog signals or the continuous signals. That is, if I give the definition of analog signal, it is defined for every possible small value of time in the interval t1 to t2. Say the interval is t1 and this interval is t2. That is, for every small value, possible small value of time, the function has a particular value. It should not have any break in this, in the graph or in the waveform. Whereas if I talk about the discrete signals, then discrete signals will be having their values only at this specified defined interval of time. See here, this function has value, this value at this instant. Say this instant is t1, then the value changes at the instant t2, then at t3 it has another value. That is, this function does not have any value in between t1 and t2. There is no value between t1 and t2. Similarly, there is no value between t2 and t3. It has value defined only at the interval t1 or at the instant t1 or the at instant t2 or t3, and likewise. So such signals are called discrete signals because these are defined only at the discrete level of time or discrete instant of time. See here, we refer time as t, and over here we refer time as n times capital T, where this capital T is the time interval between two consecutive instants. Time interval between two consecutive instants. Like this T will be equal to T2 minus T1 or T3 minus T2 or T4 minus T3. They all will be same. So discrete signals are defined only at the discrete time instants. The example of analog signals are, well, the analog signals have become obsolete, but our brain can only process the analog signals. FM broadcasting is an example of analog signal. Landline telephony that we used in the earlier times, it was an example of analog signals. In the landline telephony, the sound waves or sound signals used to travel in the form of current signal, continuous current signals through the telephone lines. Similarly, we have TV signals. TV signals used in earlier times. If you remember, we had antennas connected with the television sets. These antennas used to collect the analog TV signals, video signals being transmitted from a distance. So these are the example of analog signals. These analog signals have become obsolete nowadays. I'll tell you why. The example of discrete signal are all the 2G, 3G or 4G mobile signals nowadays being transmitted or received, or the TV setup boxes which are receiving signals are all in digital form. Why the analog signals are becoming obsolete? See here, if you see this, we can see the function is defined at every possible instant, whereas over here the function is defined only at smaller interval of time, but still we are able to fetch the same information that we can fetch from the analog signals. That is, discrete signals provide almost the same information as provided by the analog signals. That is how and where the signal is increasing and how and where the signal is decreasing and how the signal is changing with time. The same information is provided by an analog signal and the same is provided by the discrete signal. But in the transmission of analog signal, it will be consuming power at every instant of time. But discrete signal will consume power only at these instants. That is, between this instant, it will not be consuming any power. So the power consumed for the discrete signal transmission will be way less power consumption. Way less power consumption in discrete signals. So why in current time we have switched to discrete signals rather than analog signals. But in the subject we will be dealing with the analog signals only. The next classification is periodic and non-periodic signals. As the name suggests, periodic signals are one which have a certain period of repetition. Let me show you this with an example. Say we have this signal, we have this sinusoidal wave. You can clearly see that this set of values are being repeated at the exact interval of time after the exact interval of time. That means it is a periodic interval, a periodic signal, where the signal are being repeated after every t seconds or t minutes, where this t is called the time period. Time period. The time period is the time after which the signal repeats itself. So it repeats its values after fixed interval of time, where the interval would be t. It has a set pattern. If you see, the pattern is being repeated again and again and again, so it has a set pattern. Whereas in non-periodic signals, there will not be values which will be repeated in time. Like in this one, we can see the values are increasing and become steadier, but no value is being repeated. So it does not have it does not repeat its values after a fixed interval of time. Or theoretically this thing is correct, but we can also say that its time period is infinity. Time period is infinity. That is, this signal may repeat itself after infinite time interval. It does not have a set pattern. The example for periodic signals are sinusoidal signal, sawtooth waveform, clock pulse, whereas for non-periodic it is DC current growth in a RL circuit, or the noise signal or the voice signal. If I try to plot my voice with variation with respect to time, then it will be a signal something like this. See here, it does not have any set pattern. Also, it is not repeating itself after a fixed interval of time, so it is a non-periodic signal. Whereas periodic signal will repeat itself. Periodic signals can be referred like this, that if f of t is a periodic signal, then it will hold that f of t plus t. F of t will be equal to f of t plus t, where this t is the time interval. If this condition is not satisfied, then it will be a periodic signal. Next classification is random and deterministic signal. As the name suggests, random, that means the occurrence or the variation of any physical quantity with respect to time cannot be predicted in future by seeing its past values. It means this: if we have the information about the past values of a signal and we cannot predict its future values, then the signal will be random. And if we could repeat, if we could predict the future values of the signal by having the information about the past values, then the signal will be termed as deterministic signal. Deterministic and random. See this. In this particular example, say if I have the knowledge of these signals, these values, I cannot predict about its future values because it does not follow a set pattern. Its value cannot be determined with certainty at any instant of time in future, whereas deterministic signals follow a set pattern. Its value can be determined in the future instant of time. It cannot be represented mathematically, whereas this can be represented mathematically. The example for random is the number of accidents in a year. Number of accidents occurring in a year. Say in 2010, the car accident took place in a city was 1,000. Then can you predict what will be the number of accidents, car accidents in 2011? No. That means the number of accidents will be completely random. We cannot predict them. So the number of accidents in a year is a random signal. Temperature changes with time will also be random because temperature changes are due to many environmental effects. So we cannot predict. If the temperature today is 40 degrees Celsius, we cannot predict what will be the temperature after 35 days. We cannot predict the temperature exactly. Or the noise signal in an amplifier is also a random signal because we do not know the origin of the noise signals in amplifiers. Whereas in a deterministic signal, they can be represented mathematically like this one. I can represent it like f of t to be equal to, say its steady state value is a, then I can represent it a times 1 minus e raised to power minus t by tau. If I can represent it mathematically, that means I can find out its value at any instant of time using the same expression. The value can be determined at this instant, at this instant, at this instant, or at any instant. Next classification is even and odd signals. We have so many signals which shows some symmetry around y-axis. Even signals are the ones which shows symmetry around the y-axis. Let me give you an example. Say we have this signal. You may be familiar with this signal. This signal is a cosinusoidal signal. Cosinusoidal signal. Now, if I fold this signal around this y-axis, you will see that this signal will overlap on this part. That is, this part will overlap on this part and this part will overlap on this part. That means the signal on the left hand side of y-axis will be overlapped by the signal on the right hand side of the y-axis. That means even signals shows the symmetry around the y-axis. they also follow a mathematical relation, that is f of t is equal to f of minus t. Whatever may be the value over here, say over here we have a value at t1, then if I go back in the time with the duration minus t1, then it will have the same value, that is f of minus t should be equal to f of t. This is the condition for being a even signal. Whereas in the odd signal, they do not show symmetry about the y-axis. Say if I fold it using this, it will not be overlapped by this one. So this is a odd signal. Odd signal follows that f of t is equal to minus f of t. If you see, if I try to fold it, this portion will come here, this portion will come here, and if I multiply it with minus, it will become this signal. That means if I am folding it around the y-axis, then this signal will become negative of this. So such signals are called odd signals. Odd signals. These are even signals where f of t is equal to f of minus t, and odd signals are where f of t is equal to minus f of minus t. Even signals must be symmetrical about the y-axis, whereas odd signals are symmetrical about the origin. There are some signals which are neither even nor odd signals. Like if I draw a signal like this, if this is a signal, then it is neither even nor odd signal. Though it may have some even and odd parts, but it is neither even or nor odd signal. Sorry for this, this has been repeated again. Now we will discuss energy and power signal. Actually, this concept is a bit difficult to understand, but I will try to give you some examples before giving some information about this this kind of signals. Energy and power signals. Let us see what are these. Energy signal is a type of signal which has finite energy but zero average power. It should have finite energy but zero average power, whereas in the power signals, they have finite power and infinite energy. What does this energy mean? We have been representing signals graphically till now, but if you notice that the curve and the area under the curve of the signal, of any signal, gives area under the curve gives the amount of energy which it can transfer, amount of energy which this signal can transfer. We can see that this signal is tending to infinity. It means the area under the curve will also be infinity. That means its energy is infinite. Whereas if I see this signal, say I have this signal, and if I try to calculate the curve, area of the curve, then it will be a finite area because it has finite breadth and finite height. So its area can be calculated. That means its energy is finite. So such signals whose area can be calculated are the energy signals. Whose energy is infinite are called power signals. Let me give you another example. Suppose we have a firecracker which shoots up in the sky when I show fire here. It will move up. What do you think how long it can go? It can go only up to a limited height. It cannot continue to move higher and higher and higher because it has only finite amount of energy. Whereas if I consider the example of a sun, then this sun will continue to give us light energy for a long interval of time. Long interval of time. That means in that case we will call this energy or this signal, the light, energy that is coming out from this will be infinite energy. So the signal that sun is giving to us is a power signal, whereas the signal that a firecracker can give to us is a energy signal. I hope I made it clear with this example. Let me reiterate my words. If the energy transferred by any signal is finite, then the signal will be energy signal. And if the energy transferred by the signal is infinite, then it will be a power signal. I took the example of a firecracker. It can go higher up to a limited height only. And after that height, it will come down once again. That means it will not be sending any signal to us further. So a firecracker moving higher will send a signal which will be termed as energy signal. Whereas a sun which is transferring light energy for a very long interval of time, or it will transfer infinite energy, then the signal which the sun is transferring to us will be the power signal. There are some signals which are neither energy signals or nor the power signals. There are some signals which can neither be energy nor the power signals. So thank you so much for listening to this lecture. In the next lecture, we will discuss the singularity signals or the test signals. Test signals, what are these and why we use them? That is the need of singularity, and we will discuss the types of singularity signals. Or the test signals. Thank you so much for listening to this lecture.